Is it worth applying for a certificate of citizenship by filing Form N600 if I have a US passport? I get this question all the time because many individuals have become US citizens through the naturalization of their parents. So basically they were under the age of 18 when their parent naturalized, so they automatically became US citizens through their parent. In those cases, they often obtain US passports through their parents' passport application, but they don't themselves get the naturalization certificate that their parent who naturalized obtained. So they have a US passport, but don't have any sort of certificate or other document like a naturalization certificate proving their US citizenship besides the passport. So what I advise in most cases is to file for the N600 because having a certificate of citizenship does provide you with one more document that if State Department ever declines to or delays the issuance of your passport, you have one more document to prove that you are a US citizen in fact. Now, that being said, generally what I have noticed over the years is that in cases where there's questions about whether the child resided in the custody as a permanent resident of the parent, which is required in order to derive citizenship through your parent's naturalization, USCIS is much stricter in reviewing these standards than Department of State. So a lot of cases where the evidence wasn't particularly strong, the child still obtained a US passport, while when they file for the N600, the USCIS sends a request for evidence and then actually questions whether or not the child derived US citizenship through the parent. So my advice is, although I generally like filing for it, especially for clean cases where there's no issues, if you don't have a particularly straightforward case and there's questions whether or not you qualify to derive US citizenship through your parents' naturalization, in those cases, I would talk to someone who has experience with this, who can advise whether or not it's worth it. Because if you have a US passport, that is proof of US citizenship. It is quite rare for State Department not to continue to renew and issue US passports for individuals deemed to be US citizens. So filing the N600 in cases where there is a question around whether or not whether or not you derived citizenship through your parent may actually lead to more complications than not doing so. So the bottom line is, I generally like it, but you need to look at the specific circumstances of your case and probably get some professional advice if you're worried and don't think you have a straightforward case. If you have any questions about this, post it in the comment section. I'll do my best to record more videos like this. Thank you for watching.